Hello, this is Lonnie with Rolling O Farm. Recently I've been having some problems with coyotes killing some of my sheep. And so I've tried several things to deter them, was unsuccessful, so eventually ended up calling some predator hunters to come and hunt my property. They showed up with some pretty neat equipment. They showed up with some expensive remote calling, some high dollar guns, and some very pricey night optics, including thermal and night vision. I was able to go out with them on one of those hunts and able to look through some of those optics, and I realized what a clear advantage it would be if you had night vision or thermal to be able to hunt predators. However, I don't really want to spend several $1,000s on night optics. So I started looking at some less expensive options. And there are some slip-ons that you can take that's a night vision, like a night vision monocular, and you can slip it on an existing scope and it gives you night vision. And so I was looking into that. I found this one company called OneLeaf, and they had a product, the Commander NV100. It had good ratings on it, and it was relatively inexpensive. I think on their website it was like $300. I thought that was pretty reasonable. But as I researched a little bit more, actually it probably wouldn't work with my scope. I'm going to test it and see. But they say it works best on scopes that have adjustable parallax. And the scope that I have on my rifle has a fixed parallax. So what I ended up doing is they have a kit that is the monocular, the night vision monocular, paired with a scope that's specially made to work well with it. So I ordered that kit, and I think it's called the Commander NV100 Plus. So it's the Commander NV100 monocular plus a scope that goes with it. Got it in the mail. Let's check it out. So we have cleaning cloth, instruction manual, USB recharging cable, O-rings and Allen keys for mounting, some type of dust cap. We have the Rapidfire scope with very nice flip-up dust caps, 56 millimeter lens, and 3x12 zoom magnification. We have dust cap for the scope. This is a mounting ring, I think, to be able to put on a different scope so that you can quickly attach or detach on a different firearm. Some mounting rings to mount the scope. Some electrical tape to be able to mount that ring on a different scope. And then we have the NV100 night vision monocular. And I believe the way that this works is the monocular just slips on into the edge of the scope and locks in place and becomes one unit. All right, let's get this thing mounted. So I mounted the Rapidfire scope on my varmint rifle, and I was a little bit concerned about finding a mounting position that would work well as far as eye relief for whether you had the NV100 clipped on and we're using it for night vision, or if you wanted to detach the NV100 and just use it for a regular daytime scope, would I be able to find a position of mounting the scope that would give you good eye relief for either? And really that wasn't that big of a problem. I was able to find kind of a neutral setting that seems to work well for both, so I was happy about that. The scope itself seems to be a pretty good quality scope. The clarity of it is very good. It is a little bit heavy, and that's the price that you're going to pay for having a larger objective lens, but the trade-off should be that you get some good light gathering capacity in low light conditions. The scope was pretty easy to sight in, seems to be holding true. I've shot about 50 rounds through it. It has a illuminated reticle with 11 different settings, and so you can find a brightness setting for whatever the lighting conditions are outside. Now what I really want to talk about is the NV100 and looking at what this little gadget can do. For the NV100 unit itself, it has a power button here that you press and hold, and it lights up and you can see a little icon in there and you know that you're on. It has a black and white color switch right here. Basically this is either daytime, it records in color, you can see in color, or if you press it and hold it, it goes to infrared for night viewing. You also have a record button here for both video and photos. You press that. You have a laser button that is available as well. I've not found that to be super useful at night because if you're using the infrared, that just blinds you as you're looking through there. You have a digital zoom button, so if you're looking through and you press that, you have 3 different digital zoom settings there. You have a menu button here which allows you to go through and change some of the settings. On the side you have your micro SD card slot, and then also you have your recharging port for your USB cable so that you can recharge. And I think that is for headphones there. I'm not sure when you would use that, maybe when recording or something of that nature. On the front of it, you have your lens here, of course, but then you have your infrared lens as well. And your infrared lens telescopes in and out, so you can push it all the way in and it gives you more of a panoramic view of the infrared light so that you can see a broader area. But if you're wanting to reach out and kind of focus the light down to a pinpoint, you can slide that out and it focuses the light. Particularly that's beneficial for longer range viewing. You have a focus wheel that focuses the image here, and then you also have a focus wheel here for the Doppler, your eye Doppler adjustments. I've really enjoyed playing with this, just going out at night and checking my sheep and being able to observe what's going on, just looking around, just using it as a handheld monocular. So the NV100 attaches to the Rapidfire Plus scope by just fitting it in a little groove and giving it a quarter turn, and you hear it click, it snaps in place there. And to disconnect it, it's got a little release button right here. Release that and give it a counterclockwise quarter turn and it just pops right off. So I'm certainly not an expert when it comes to night vision optics. I know very little about it. This is really my first venture into night vision optics. And I have noticed that there's a lot of adjustments that have to be made on this system. You have an eye Doppler that needs to be in focus. You have a focus wheel here on the NV100 that needs to be in focus to be able to see the reticle clearly. Then you have the adjustable parallax that needs to be adjusted to be able to see. So you got 2 things you're trying to keep in focus. You're trying to keep your reticle in focus and you're trying to keep your object in focus. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4 different adjustments that need to be made. Now, I may be overcomplicating it or missing something, but it takes me a while to get all of those dialed in where both my image is clear and the reticle is clear. In a hunting situation, if I had to make a quick change, at this point, I couldn't do it. Maybe with some practice, I'll get better at it. So I've kind of had to set up, get everything adjusted for the distance that I'm expecting my target to be at, and then work with that. So that has been a little bit of a learning curve for me, and I still have some learning to do on that. I will say that the range of viewing is very good. I was hoping maybe to get 100 yards of visibility out of this, and I think that probably 250 yards I can see something out there at 250 yards. 200 is certainly not a problem. So I was very pleased with that. The infrared beam shines out there pretty good. If you're hunting within 75 yards or so, you can back it out and get more of a panoramic spread. You've also got the different brightnesses. You can brighten up that infrared beam. If you're hunting up close, if you put it on the brightest setting, it'll just nearly blind you. Too much light bouncing back at you. But if you're reaching out there, you can set it on the highest brightness, and then you can also adjust that beam out where it narrows down. So 200, 250 yards, you can still see something out there pretty good with that. So I was very pleased with the range of visibility from this unit. I'm not really sure what the battery life is on this, but it's really good. I have taken it out and used it quite a bit, and the battery life has really held up. I think I've recharged it twice just to make sure that it had a full charge. But I've been out for several hours, and I really haven't noticed the power draining down a whole lot. So I don't know what the battery life is, but I've been pleased with it so far. Even though OneLeaf does not recommend using the NV100 on a fixed parallax scope, the kit does come with a ring that you can mount onto an existing scope that the NV100 attaches to. All I have is a fixed parallax scope on this 22, but I thought we would try mounting that on there and just see how it looks. This is where the electrical tape that comes in the kit comes in handy. The mounting ring that they gave me, or that comes in the kit, is a little bit too large for the eye bell of the scope that I have. So I'm going to take the electrical tape and I'm going to wrap it around and build up this so that the mounting ring can mount on there. Okay, now that we got that mounted, let me go try it out and I'll be right back. So here's what I noticed about it. First of all, it works pretty well on a fixed parallax scope. I do think that it's probably better on an adjustable parallax because this parallax is probably fixed at 100 yards, and when you're viewing an object at 100 yards, the object seems to be in focus, and then you can adjust the NV100 to get the reticle in focus, and it does pretty good. But if you try to look at something closer, it does tend to distort it a little bit, or it's difficult to keep both the object and the reticle in focus at the same time, which that makes sense. That's the reason why they would recommend an adjustable parallax scope. Overall, though, I think it is usable and workable. I did notice that when you're using magnification, if you focus it in on 3 power and then zoom up to 9 power, it does tend to distort it a little bit, and vice versa. I had that trouble on the Rapidfire scope as well. It was difficult for me to use the magnification of the scope and everything still stay in focus. But I think that it will work on a fixed parallax scope. I did notice that when I look through the NV100, the reticle seems to be square and in the center, but I notice on the video that it tends to be skewed and off to one side. And I think that that's probably because I just don't have this mounting ring on there exactly square. It looks square, and as I said, when I look through the NV100 with the eye, the reticle looks like it is square, but on the video it appears to be skewed and off to one side. So that's probably just a little bit of a mounting error on my part on mounting this ring on there. So trying it out on a fixed parallel scope, usable, not ideal, but usable. So I was really hoping to be able to get you some good footage of me eliminating the coyote problem. However, apparently word got out that I was upping my game and the coyotes fled the premises. I hunted several times and just never saw anything, so I wasn't able to get you any footage of an actual coyote hunt. However, after spending several nights in the field with the NV100 and the Rapidfire scope, I do believe that I have a system here that when they show back up, I will be able to take care of the problem. So let me give you my overall impression of the NV100 and the Rapidfire scope. First of all, if you're using the NV100 as a standalone monocular, you're going to have a lot of fun with it. The ability to reach out there and view things at night is really good. I was very impressed with the infrared distance of it. I also really liked the quality of the audio and video recording capability of the NV100, and it was simple to use. Now, I will say this, in using it in combination with the scope, it becomes a little bit more complicated because there's more things that have to be focused. That was probably the one drawback that I saw with this unit. And I don't know if it's a drawback, it may be that way with everything, but I felt like I was always searching for a little bit more crispness out of the image that I'm viewing and the reticle at the same time. If I got one in focus where it was really sharp, the other always seemed to be a little bit fuzzy. I was able to find a happy medium that I think would be very workable, but I always felt like I was tinkering, trying to adjust it to get it a little bit more crisp so that everything was in focus at the same time. And that may be something that I just need to continue to work on. There may be a trick to that I'm missing or something, but that was probably the one thing that I was a little bit disappointed with, particularly in a hunting situation. If you had to make a quick adjustment in distance, it took me at least a little while to get everything in focus like I would like it to be. As far as distance, incredible. I did not expect that I would be able to see something at 300 yards in pitch black darkness well enough to take a shot at it, but I feel like I could. I feel like the infrared distance of this for such a inexpensive unit and a small unit is outstanding. I like the overall quality. I felt like Oneleaf did a good job with the NV100, and I felt like the Rapidfire scope is a good quality scope. If I'd be happy to use that without the night vision monocular, just as a regular daytime scope. Thought it was very good. For the price, I think this is exactly what I was looking for. I think it would do the job and accomplish its purpose. So for what I was looking for and something to solve a predator problem and not wanting to spend thousands of dollars on night vision optics, I felt like the Oneleaf NV100 along with the Rapidfire scope was a good solution for that. If you're interested in checking out Oneleaf's products, whether the NV100 or the Rapidfire scope or any of their night vision or thermal optics, I will leave a link to their website in the video description below. I do appreciate you watching this review video, and as always, happy farming.